Kenya is filled with some of the most incredible wildlife you'll ever encounter. I'm Carol Yelverton. Welcome to Hungry for Travel TV. We're doing authentic Kenyan cooking with a mouth-watering Nyama Choma. It's a roasted meat dish, and what's different about it is an incredible curry marinade and some serious flame-on cooking. So let me show you how we're going to do this. So first of all, I have short ribs here. They're beautiful meat. It usually is meat that you would cook very slowly. We're going to be doing kind of a roast, like as you would kind of in a hot oven, or just grilling it. So we're going to cook it at really high heat. But first, we're going to do a great marinade. So we're going to start with making our own curry. And so there are a couple of ways we're going to do that. And a curry basically is a combination of spices. And I like to make my own curries because I really can control the spices and the flavors and just get it to a place where it's perfect. So the first thing I do is I love cooking spray or spraying a bowl with oil or using just a brush and brushing some oil on. And the reason is that everything is going to slide very easily off this bowl and onto the meat. I'm also going to just spray up my spoon here for the molasses because then that'll come off really easily too. So I've got that ready to go, and I'm going to put some beautiful fresh lemon juice. This is the juice of one big lemon, so maybe a half a cup or even a little more if you want it. We'd like the acidity of the lemon. That's going to be really important to our dish. So then we're going to put in some molasses. There's a beautiful plant in Kenya that is kind of a sugary plant, and it has a very deep-rooted flavor. So that's why our molasses is going to help us along to kind of get that flavor. And I'm going to add a little bit of sugar to it. You can add brown sugar too. Brown sugar is basically white sugar with molasses in it, but if you want that extra little kick, go for that there. And now let's get these spices rolling here. So the first thing I want to do is take some seeds. I have fennel seeds and I have mustard seeds, whole. And what I like to do is take them whole, and then I'm just using the back of a spoon and I'm cracking them. Again, this is going in a marinade. They don't have to be finely ground. So I have them nicely cracked here, so I'm going to throw those right in and get our spice profile going. So you guys go in. There we go. All right, so we begin with the spices. This is excellent. So the next thing I want to do is add a little paprika. Gives it a nice color and flavor. I've got a touch of cayenne, and again, as much as you want, and taste this as you go. Obviously, the marinade is going to be, high flavor. It's not going to be quite what the finished product is going to be like, but it can give you some comparisons along the way of the flavors that you like. You might like more of something. I have coriander here, beautiful aromatic, lemony, lovely spice. You might want to add more, or you might want to let it go here. I've got about a half a teaspoon in, and about a half teaspoon of cumin as well. And so these really, form a good basis for what's going to happen here. Turmeric, which is a delicious spice and really good for us and makes beautiful color. Now, marjoram grows wild in Kenya, which is, it's just a beautiful herb there. So I have about a half teaspoon of marjoram, and I'm just going to kind of fold it in with, open it up because it's a dried herb. Open it up like that. And then I'm going to whisk these together now. So you can see this is coming together in a nice way. It's going to be a beautiful marinade. Got a couple more things I'm going to add to it. I have some ginger. I love ginger, fresh ginger. I'll use a lot of dried ginger, but in a dish like this, the fresh ginger is going to bring such a spark to this marinade. So I've got a bunch of it. I've just, sliced it, peeled the ginger and sliced it. So you can see there's quite a bit here. But again, it's going to bring like an incredible amount of taste and depth to the marinade and then into the meat itself. I've got black pepper. I'm going to get a good amount of that in. And let that go there. And then I've got some salt. The other thing I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to salt the meat right now, too, because it just needs to get salt that just kind of goes into it. And typically, I'll do this maybe 10 minutes before I start to cook, but I just kind of want to show you the process. So we have some salt in there. Now, the last thing I'm going to add is garlic. So you can see regular garlic. I have taken 2 cloves, and I want to show you my favorite toy. It's a garlic press. I've been using a garlic press for like forever. And so you just put your garlic in here. I've got 2 cloves of garlic in here. Typically, I only use 1 at a time, but I just want to show this to you and go kind of fast. So again, the garlic, huge amount of garlic flavor is going to go in. So you just scrape it off like that. And that mash of the garlic through the press is just delicious. And, you know, for this dish, I think it's perfect. There are some dishes where you want sliced garlic or minced garlic. It really all depends. So then we have this. I'm also going to get the water up to boiling for the next part of our recipe too. So I'm just turning that up. All right, I think we're good to go. So here are these beautiful short ribs. And what we're going to do is put our marinade in. Now you can Ziploc bag this thing too. You know, just, you know, put this in a big Ziploc bag, mush it all around, massage it into the meat, and that will work great. I wanted to show you the process. So I have my super big bowl. Is it big enough? I hate to use a small bowl when I'm trying to do something like this because you can't really coat things well. It's just really hard to work with when it's a small bowl. So I actually went and found one of the biggest bowls I could find, and I'm christening it here on Hungry for Travel TV with this beautiful recipe today. And it's just so much easier to work with. So now this is going to sit in this marinade for at least an hour. I like to put it in for like 3 hours. And then before I'm ready to cook the meat, I take it out about an hour before, half hour before, just to kind of let the meat come to room temperature and really have a chance for the flavors to get even more absorbed. So there it is. Now, if you have a grill, this is going to go right on your grill. If you don't have a grill, if it's not the right time of year, you just don't have a grill, don't despair because you have a broiler on your stove and that's going to work perfectly for us. The idea here is that we're going to use fire to really infuse this meat with a char and just a cooking technique that will give it a really wonderful flavor. So put this in a broiling pan, or if you have a cookie tin and a cookie rack, just put it on there with some foil on the bottom, and you want to get it in your broiler or get it on your grill, and you're going to cook this thing. It is like flame on, I'm serious. You're going to cook this for about 6 minutes, turn it, about 6 minutes more, turn it. You're just going to cook it and keep turning it until a meat thermometer is going to read about 180 degrees. So that's going to take a while. If you're cooking inside, put the vents on, open the windows. But the end result is so worth it. So when the meat thermometer is about 180, what I do is I'll either turn the grill off and cover the meat, or I'll just turn the oven off. But then this is going to sit for another 20 minutes, a half hour or so in that hot oven or hot grill. So what's going to happen is it's going to get even more tender. You know, we don't want to grill this so much that it burns, and we keep turning it so that we don't get too much of a burn going on. But we also want to make sure that this is really, really cooked. And we want it to have a temperature of about 190 degrees. It'll start to cool at some point, so you know you want to check it. If you want to put the grill on just a little bit on low, or turn the oven back on to maybe 400. If after about 20 minutes you can finish it off that way. We don't want it to overcook, but about 190 is when this meat is going to be really tender. And we want to be able to just be able to put a fork in it and cut it, and it won't feel tough. So again, use something like short ribs, or you could use other kinds of meat like chuck, but don't use a tender cut of meat for this because it'll ruin it. So don't use a sirloin or anything like that. Use something that you really would use to grill in your backyard. So this meat is so delicious and so spicy and so rich. And there's an accompaniment to it that I want to share with you. It's called ugali. Now, this is the very typical way that people have this in Kenya. So what I have here, I have boiling water and I have corn flour. Now this is the same kind of corn flour you would use to make tortillas. It's very, very finely ground and it has this really fine texture. So it's a little different from cornmeal. So it's called a masa harina. And so you can just get in again. You think you're about to do some Mexican cooking, but you're doing Kenyan cooking. So this is going to go in. So for a cup of this corn flour, you use 2 cups of water. You can also use white corn flour if you want, if you can't find this, and that's going to work totally fine too. So you just really put it in, and I'm turning it down a little bit, but you let it cook and cook and cook and cook. And you can see it gets really kind of gummy a little bit. It cooks up. I think it needs a little more water. I've been playing with the water here because I knew I was going to be cooking and doing the demo while this was boiling. So I have a little play here. I'm just going to take my knife too and just loosen this up because you really need a whisk. And the key to this, and making it taste super, super delicious, is to keep whisking it for about 3-4 minutes. Then you just turn it off and keep it warm. Okay, so that's going to cook up for a little bit more. And now I just want to show you the finished product. Here's a photo of what we've just done. Just look at our finished Nyama Choma and ugali. You can see the beautiful char on the outside with that serious on-fire flame cooking. Inside, the meat is filled with flavor. The curry marinade has infused it with an earthy, spicy goodness. The ugali is the perfect foil for these rich flavors. And we've dusted some chives on top for a nice garnish and finish. Of course, so many of us are attracted to Kenyan safari experiences which bring us up close to lions, tigers, and other magnificent wildlife. Kenya is also a fascinating place with many different ethnic groups and many different African cultures. Filmmaker Siu shows us what the sounds of Kenya feel like. Just love that video. It's the real Kenya. I'm Carol Yelverton. Thank you so much for being with us. Until I see you again, stay hungry for travel.